September 15th, 2008. Lehman Brothers files for bankruptcy. The collapse of one bank in New York sends shockwaves across the Atlantic. What began as a U.S. housing crisis quickly spreads to the global banking system, and Europe's financial giants aren't spared. Banks like Deutsche Bank, BNP Paribas, and UBS held mountains of toxic subprime mortgage securities. As panic spread, the European Central Bank, the ECB, stepped in. It slashed interest rates to 1% and injected roughly €400 billion in liquidity to stabilize the system. But the story was only beginning. The crisis had second and third order effects, and Greece was about to become the epicenter. The Greek economy depended heavily on tourism and shipping, both hit hard by the global recession. But even before the crash, Greece was running massive deficits. It had spent nearly €9 billion hosting the 2004 Athens Olympics, an extravaganza that strained its finances for years. According to EU law, the Maastricht Treaty, member nations must keep their budget deficits below 3% of GDP. Greece was nowhere close. In October 2009, a new government came to power in Athens, and what it revealed shocked Europe. The previous administration had underreported the country's finances. Greece's actual deficit wasn't 6%, it was 12.7% of GDP, later revised even higher to 15.4%. Markets panicked, investors dumped Greek bonds, yields soared, and soon Greece couldn't borrow money at sustainable rates. In April 2010, Greece admitted it could no longer finance its debt and requested an emergency bailout from the EU and the IMF. The amount, €45 billion. But help came with strings attached. The Troika, the EU, the European Central Bank, and the IMF demanded deep austerity, cuts to pensions, public wages, and social spending. By May 2010, the first bailout worth €110 billion was approved. Yet the medicine was bitter. The economy shrank, unemployment soared, and protests erupted across Athens. Political chaos followed. Governments fell. In November 2011, a new prime minister was sworn in, Lucas Papadimos, a former ECB vice president, to restore credibility. But Greece still needed more help. In February 2012, the second bailout was finalized, €130 billion, along with one of the largest debt restructurings in history. Private investors agreed or were forced to take a 53.5% haircut on Greek bonds. In total, €107 billion of debt was wiped off the books. It was the largest sovereign debt restructuring the world had ever seen. But contagion spread fast. Investors turned on other high-debt nations, Spain, Italy, and Portugal. Yields spiked. The entire Eurozone seemed to be on the verge of collapse. Then in July 2012, ECB President Mario Draghi made history. He declared, "Within our mandate, the ECB is ready to do whatever it takes to preserve the euro, and believe me, it will be enough." Those words changed everything. Confidence began to return. The ECB followed through with its outright monetary transactions program, a powerful bond-buying plan to support troubled nations. By June 2012, Spain received €100 billion to recapitalize its banking sector. Gradually, markets stabilized, borrowing costs fell, and by 2014, the Eurozone had weathered the storm. The Euro debt crisis reshaped Europe, economically and politically. It exposed the fragility of a monetary union without fiscal unity, and it forced leaders to rethink what it meant to share a common currency. Europe survived, barely, but the scars of austerity, debt, and distrust linger on.